Hey kawan, welcome to EDCReady. Today is the 13th of January, which means it's my birthday, and for my birthday, not only am I a little sick, I got a little flu, which explains my sexy voice, but I also want to show you guys what my knife collection so far looks like in January of 2020. Now, a few things I wanted to disclose. First of which, some of these knives on the table here, I personally bought myself and I use. Some were donated to the channel, and then some are on loan. So I will kind of signify that before I get into each knife. So a little bit background about my knife collecting. I started, I think, in July of 2018. So in July 2018, I kind of started off my first knife that I bought in a really long time. I bought a QSP Deva, okay, which is no longer on the table because I sold it off because, let's be honest, it's a knife that I didn't need anymore. But the actual first knife that I've ever bought for myself using my own money, my dad gave me a Victorinox when I was really young, a Swiss Army knife, but the first ever knife I bought was this knife. This here is a Mantis Balisong Caramba, and it's a really okay. So here's my theory. As a first knife, you almost never buy, especially when you're a 17-18-year-old kid, you almost never buy a knife that is practical. You tend to buy a knife that is, shall we say, has more cool factor than a functional factor. So this is it. It is a butterfly Caramba, and that's how it was. It's kind of difficult to do that under a table because, under a camera, because I don't want to hit the camera or the tripod, which is right in front of me. So let me try that again. No, fail. One last time. Come on, third time's the charm. There we go. And then that's how it works. To be honest, this is one of those knives that is more of a show-off knife rather than a knife that I actually use, or a knife that I EDC, because I did not EDC this knife at all. This knife here is a butterfly Caramba, as you can see here, and Caramba is a very good martial arts tactical kind of self-defense kind of tool. I do have some martial arts training, so in some ways I have a bit of skill in using this. But the great thing about Carambits is that you don't need a lot of skill to use it. What you really need to do is you just hold it in like this and use it as if you would like a jab. So instead of going slicing it and using it with all your martial arts skills, you just use it here and then you just jab with it as you would if you were just to box someone, and then the hook will still catch the person that you are jabbing. So it makes it, it can either be a very complex martial arts tool, or it can be a very simple martial arts tool, but martial arts tool nonetheless. I do not take this out because it's extremely dangerous, both from a personal usage point of view and also from a law point of view. And also, anything that's folding, in my opinion, tends to make a bad self-defense tool, because to take this out of your pocket and to open it like that that just takes too much time, and we all know that attacks or theft happens within seconds. So I just keep this in my collection. Next up, I'll talk about a knife that is on loan. We have here the Kershaw Mini Natrix in copper. Okay, this is on loan from a guy named Anas. He is my friend. He is part of the EDC Malaysia group, which is the Everyday Carry Malaysia group, and I have this on loan. I've done a few videos on this guy. I'm still have yet to film the review because I'm still carrying this guy. I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about this guy. Overall, really nice knife, and thank you, Anas. A lot of good things I can say about this knife. Next up, a couple of knives that were donated to the channel. Okay, so a knife that was donated to the channel is here. So this is, let's talk about the first knife that was ever donated to the channel. It is this guy right here. This is the CRKT Pilar Large, and this is donated by Thomas Tools. If you guys know Thomas Tools, they are a they are a seller. They are a website that sells knives and EDC gear, flashlights, self-defense tools. They sell neck knives and camping tools and all these kind of stuff. So you can check them out. I do have a link in the description down below. You can click the link to go to the website, thomastools.com.my, and then I also have a 10% discount code in the description down below. So if you want to go to Thomas Tools and then you want to buy some stuff on discount, you can just use my promo code in the description down below. So Pilar Large, I have a lot of mixed feelings about this knife. It's extremely comfortable in the hand. It's a good heavy duty kind of small pocket knife user, but at the same time it's not made very well. A lot of the fit and finish has troubles. The screws here were extremely difficult to take apart, and they don't go back together the same way as on Teflon washers. A lot of things that I really wish this knife was just built a little bit better. This would just be an amazing knife if it was so. But that's kind of just the game if you are like someone who reviews knife. If you're the kind of person who wants a really good utility knife, a knife that you do not need to think much about in terms of maintenance, in terms of whatever, you just want a knife that's hard use, you can just take it out of your pocket and use it, this is going to be a really good knife for you. Again, promo code in the description down below to the website. Next up, another one that was donated to the channel, which is this. We have a Hego Kami. Yeah, Hego Kami. This is a traditional Japanese style knife. It's not a slip joint, it is a friction folder. That's right. So there is no lock at all, there's no detent at all either. In fact, the only way this thing stays open is this little flipper here, this little tab here. You hold it down with your thumb and then you do any kind of cutting. Okay, this kind of knife, great for how should I say, it's a great looker. It's extremely gentlemanly, extremely cool, extremely suave, but it's not a really good functional tool. Which is, no, if you're buying this, you're not buying it for something hard use. You're buying this to be classy, to be elegant, and I think this is what the knife really does really well. This is called the cinnamon wood, something like that. I really like the Bombay wood. So this is also from thomastools.com.my, so you can check out the description down below. You can get a 10% promo discount from the website. Okay, so those are the ones that were donated to the channel. Another one, which is this guy right here. This is the 10-gram Santa Fe. This is a really nice knife, really nice budget knife. I didn't buy this, I won this in a giveaway. It's my first ever online giveaway that I've won. Won it straight from 10-gram themselves. It took a really long time to get here, but eventually it did get here. So thank you very much, 10-gram, and also thank you very much, Kaiser, for helping that out. This is it is on bronze washers on both sides, although it's the kind of bronze washers that are sandwiched with a Teflon washer in between to, I don't know, to kind of keep it in tolerance. This is a fantastic budget knife. This has become, honestly, when I got this, I was thinking, maybe I'll do a review about it, do a video about it, and then I'll sell it off. But I'm very much going to keep this knife. This is a fantastic knife. It is extremely tall grind, okay, very thin behind the edge, amazing slicer, not a very thick blade, not a very thick knife. It has a very good pocket clip with the screws inset into the clip, so you can ride pretty high up in your pants. And then it is also extremely smooth on these washers. I have other washer based knives, but it's like washer on one side and plastic on the other side. This has bronze on each side, even though there's a bit of Teflon, but it's extremely smooth knife. A couple of things I really wish about this knife is that I really wish that the detent was just a little bit stronger. It's fine, but it kind of feels like instead of the knife popping out, it feels like you're kind of like pushing it to the end of the circle right here. Another thing I really like about this knife is that all the screws are T8 except the clip screws, those are T6, but I don't flip that around very often. But to disassemble it, all you need are T8 screws. Check out the disassembly video on my channel for that. Alright, so another knife right here. Let's get into one of the Gunzo knives. We have here the FH11, Gunzo FH11 CF, and this knife, it does a couple of things right. It has a nice deep curved pocket clip, it has an amazing action, it has a CF here, although it's a very thin ply of CF on G10, but a lot of things are not perfect about this knife. It is a budget knife. You have sharp edges right here, the jimping is a little bit sharp, the detent's really weak, but I just want to show you guys why I keep this knife around. Check this action out. Okay, it opens like that, you disengage that, and then it just drops like that, just like that. The smoothest action I have ever felt on any bearing knife I have, and I think the smoothest action, the most drop shot action I've ever had on any knife of the sort. Now, a couple of things because of that is running on bearings, but I also think also the detent ball is actually very soft, as in the detent strength is very soft, which is probably why it can drop shut like that. Okay, this is a knife that, if you ask me, is going to be sold really soon because I don't really have a need for this knife anymore. I have this, and this. So this knife is just kind of like slowly like getting carried less and less, and because of that I have a strong feeling I'm going to sell this guy very soon. Another knife that I'm going to sell very soon is this guy right here. This is my other Gunzo. This is the second knife I ever bought. This is the second knife in 2018 I bought. This is the Gunzo F754. So it uses this kind of sliding bar lock. They call it a G-lock, but patently, technologically, it is exactly the same as an axis lock. which has its pros and cons. So this is one of those knives that has bronze on one side and Teflon on the other side, which means that it is always going to have a little bit of blade play, because on the bronze side it's fine, but on the Teflon side it can kind of squish within that Teflon a little bit, and that's something I kind of want to, it's not perfect. So I got this on sale and it came out as really cheap, which is kind of why I keep it around. This is like my beater knife. It feels extremely solid. This feels like a very good budget beater knife. It has full steel liners, a pretty long back spacer. It has a 440C blade, which has pretty good edge retention. It has the axis lock, which feels solid up and down. Left and right, not so much. It has G10, nice and creepy G10. It's just a great like beater knife, and I'm really contemplating selling this guy. Like, I wouldn't know if, definitely I almost feel like I am gonna sell this guy, and I'm definitely gonna sell a few more. Like this didn't really impress me that much, so I am gonna sell it to kind of fund the channel a little bit, so I can get more gear in the future to do reviews and such. I may be thinking about selling my other knives, but this knife I'm really like 50-50 in selling this knife. On one end, it is not the best in terms of action, okay, but at the same time it's very fidgety. A lot of ways you can open and close this knife. It is extremely difficult to take apart compared to my other knives because of the axis lock, you know. Okay, I'm gonna film a disassembly eventually, but just so you know that axis locks like this are extremely hard to take apart, and kind of Nick Shabazz can vouch for that. The screws are kind of like poorly done as well. It's actually quite difficult to unscrew this sometimes. But at the same time, it's just like one of these knives that are headache free. You know what I mean? It's the kind of knife that simplifies your life a little bit. So yeah. So moving on to my next three knives, let's talk to my only like high-end knife that I have right here. This is the ZT-0450CF. Okay, this is the only knife that has like really high quality premium materials. We have carbon fiber on this side, and it's full carbon fiber, as you can see on the other side. We have here titanium, black anodized titanium. We have a stainless steel pocket clip, and then we have a blade of S35VN that's also black oxide coated, and it's also my only frame lock flipper. So as a knife reviewer collector, I feel like it's important to have a flipper frame lock, which is what this is right here. And to be honest, I look online. I always try to look for a knife to eventually replace this knife, because there are a few things I don't like about it. I don't like the free spinning pivot. I don't like that the screws go into the titanium here. I do not like this pocket clip, and that's a simple fix. I just gotta buy a new pocket clip. And I don't like that there was a bit too much Loctite on this screw, to the point that I may have almost stripped it out a little bit, but it still functions. I can still take this apart and put it back on once I got my new Torx bit sets, the higher quality Torx bit sets. Then I can take this knife apart. Amazing action. This is one of those actions that you just pull back and then it just fires out. Check out that action. It just fires out. And on the shut, because the detent is stronger, it's gonna hold the blade a little bit more, but once you just add a little bit of action on that, it just shuts super duper quickly. Really like this knife. Sometimes I think about selling this knife, but at the end of the day, I know I'm just gonna regret it, because the minute I change the pocket clip, I think I'll just like this knife a lot more. Alright. By the way, I got that from thomastools.com as well. This one I got from Outdoor Gears Malaysia. You can check out their Facebook page, Outdoor Gears Malaysia, or OGM. They also have an Instagram page, but they're a bit more active on Facebook from what I see. This is a Civivi McKenna. I really like the brand Civivi. I really like the kind of quality they bring to the budget knife game. And this is also my only front flipper, and also my only knife designed by Elijah Aisha. A lot of things I really love about this knife. It has amazing action, super cutty blade. You can check out the full review on my channel. It has an amazing carry profile. That is just tiny. Just look at that compared to the Para 3 lightweight. Super tiny. And for that tiny body, you actually have a blade length that is about the same blade length as the Para 3 lightweight, but you definitely get a lot more sharpened edge. And that's something that the ZT here does really well. ZTs have a way of packing the most amount of blade shape in the smallest amount of handle. So this, you have a lot more sharpened blade length to the Para 3, but you have a handle that is so much smaller than the Para 3. Okay, so the handle might be just as long as the Para 3, but once you fold this up, it is tiny compared to the Para 3 right here. Okay, but yeah, back to the McKenna. Just a couple of things that kind of like almost stopped me from calling this knife perfect. Oh, another thing that this knife is perfect for is that it has non-free spinning pivots, and you can take this knife apart with just 2 T8 screws right here. Fantastic. The only thing that really kind of annoys me is the pocket clip right here. You can see there that the screws go pretty high up into the clip. So with my thicker pants, I can't actually put this in. But at the end of the day, super amazing fidgety knife, amazing action. Just love this knife. And then last but not least, I'm going to talk about the most previous knife that I bought, which is this guy right here. I bought from thomastools.com.my, which is the Para 3 Lightweight. Now, this knife, the Para 3, is... I bought this because I wanted to get onto the Spyderco hype, to be honest. I had a Dragonfly before, but the Dragonfly is not your quintessential Spyderco. I would say maybe your PM2, your Para 3, and in this case, the Para 3 Lightweight, this is kind of your quintessential Spyderco. Now, this knife, a couple of things that really surprised me. Number one is, out of the box, it was actually really gritty. Like, it was very difficult to get it to fall shut. Okay, so once I took it apart, whatever, I looped it up, oiled it up, it actually started dropping really well. Unfortunately, out of the box, it had a tiny bit of blade play, and then after I put it back together, it still has a tiny bit of blade play. I can tighten it now to the point that it's completely tight where there's no blade play, but then it just sticks up here and it doesn't have that fall shut action. Whereas if I want that fall shut action, which I do like, I need to introduce just a tiny bit of blade play. It's not the kind of blade play that would really make a difference. It is definitely less blade play than this guy right here on Teflon washers on both sides. It definitely has less blade play than this guy right here, the Gunzo, which has Teflon on one side and bronze on the other. This also has bronze on one side and then just the plastic handle scales on the other side, which kind of annoys me a little bit. I really wish that they would have had just another like stainless steel bushing or whatever on the other side here, and then have bronze right there. I think that would just make it like rock solid in terms of its blade play. But other than that, a couple of things. Ergonomics feel very amazing. You have this amazing design, this amazing texturing right here, but it's still pretty slippery. I think that's because of the matte finish on the sides here. They make it very comfortable, and in the hand, don't get me wrong, in the hand this is staying in your hand really well, but there are twice when I flipped this knife and then it slipped out of my hand because the material can be a little bit slippery sometimes. It doesn't feel cheap, but sometimes it can feel a little bit slippery. Amazing pocket clip, which I love. Amazing action that I love. This is gotta be one of my most fidgetiest knife ever, and sometimes the sound of it unlocking and closing is just so nice. Listen to that. Oh yeah, that's some ASMR action. Yeah, just like that. Really good functional blade shape. Not the best slicer because it is a little bit thick, especially when you cut down into something that's really long. However, it does come with a pretty sharp edge from the factory, which I really enjoy. Another thing, the insides here is actually surprisingly sharp, which I did not expect. So sorry, which I did expect from watching all those videos, but there's something you can easily fix with some very fine sandpaper, which I will do it after the review. So that's it. That's my collection as of January 2020. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do also support me on Patreon if you guys want to help support the channel. You can find out more on my Patreon details in the description down below. And as always guys, stay ready.